In a podcast, no one can hear you scream. Two spooky boys arm their crossbows and prepare to hunt monsters. Sink your fangs into this new season as we explore the world of monsters in film. From aliens to werewolves, these brothers are getting grim and cooking up some good new content. You may have heard a howl in the distance, but you haven't heard from us. Not us, united.
Nick, now I'm so nervous.
Don't be nervous. Just be happy it happened.
Yeah. You know, I never thought about what we would say when we come back to Not Us United.
I know. There's no right thing to be said.
Yeah.
It was a lengthy sabbatical, but
Yeah.
I think we're rested.
Some say we would never do it. Some say, when are you going to do it?
Right.
No.
Yeah. That's true.
That's so true. Those are the two options.
Those are the two options. But yeah, over months of soul searching and bromance texts, we just kind of realized, like, it's time to get back.
It's time to get back.
You know?
Long anticipated return.
Yeah.
I think it needed its space, though.
It did. We needed to let it breathe.
Yeah.
100 episodes was awesome. Great project and a good goal. And it was exhausting.
Yeah.
But mostly fun.
Yeah. That's why we're doing it again, because we actually enjoy doing it.
Yeah, there's lots of good stuff. But I think we're back better than ever and kind of have a plan.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Do we reintroduce ourselves?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Why don't you start?
Perfect. I will.
And then we can explain like what we want to do moving forward.
Sure. All right. Well, my name is Nick Kruzich, a.k.a. Bad Boy LaCroix. Shout out to the LaCroix Nation out there. This isn't sponsored or affiliated with LaCroix whatsoever. But LaCroix, please throw us some money or even just some free,
Water.
Beach plum is really good.
Oh.
It's a good flavor.
Yeah, I'm not a big LaCroix guy. You know this. You're the only LaCroix I like.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And with me, as always, is my co-host.
Hey. Mikey Z on the mic, hot and fresh out the kitchen.
Michael Zavala, also known as a.k.a.
Mikey Z?
Also known as a.k.a.
No, wait, what was the dude?
Zavala.
Zavala.
The Glizzen Al Gaib.
Oh, the Glisten Al Gaib.
That is. The Glizzen Al Gaib.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I'll follow you on any space war you want to go on. Yes.
Yeah. I just need a hype man. I want to be the hype man that Stilgar was for you. You know? For Paul, that.
Sure.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I can teach you there because I already am him.
Whoa. What?
Because I came up with Glizzen Al Gaib.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I mean, that's pretty hype. So.
Okay.
I'll teach you the ways.
Okay, good. Well, after that thrilling introduction, I think again we're just two boys, two lovely lads that just love cinema.
Yeah.
I think
almost as much as each other.
Almost as much as it's like
it's up there.
It's right there. But what we love more than cinema is talking about cinema together. Our two loves coming together.
Yeah.
And I think what brought us back from the podcast, from our sabbatical of the podcast, was like I feel like we just needed to just hash it out.
Yeah.
I feel like also during the break, I watched way less movies.
Interesting.
I did not watch a lot of movies.
But did that cleanse your palate in a way that you're kind of like...
I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I feel clean. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm almost purified.
It's like we woke up from a long cryo sleep.
Oh, my God.
If you will.
Whoa, I will.
And we're ready to just start
it's been
tackling
57
content.
years later. We're back with the podcast.
I think we're going to come out slow out of the gate, but there are some new things we want to try.
Yeah.
Do
you want to tell the audience
I think we can,
what the general plan is?
We can give them some titillating teasers. Little tidbits.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we want to try to film this podcast. I think kind of want to flex our
obviously not right now
cinematography.
Ooh, yeah.
So we might film, put some. I don't know if you want to see the faces to these voices, but once you do, you can't go back.
Yeah.
But I think that'd be fun. I think it'd be a fun way to interact with people as well. Because here's the deal: we're freaking hilarious.
Let's get that right out of the gate.
And I just think it would only enhance
Yeah.
your viewing.
Yeah. Viewing pleasure.
Especially your viewing. If you saw us.
If you're just sitting on a blank screen, man.
Yeah. And so I think we're going to try that.
Yeah.
But for this foreseeable future, we're going to kind of do mini seasons that, I don't know, we're not married to the fact that it has to be like 10 episodes, but this one in particular is going to be a 10 episode arc that kind of have a similar theme. And so we're going to tackle films with monsters.
There be monsters.
And the interesting thing about this topic is that monster term is going to bend and shift as we dissect each of these films.
Wow.
And we might find out that maybe there's these movies that have a quote-unquote monster, but perhaps all of us.
It was us who were the monster all along.
It's the monsters you made along the way.
That's right. Friendship.
So, yeah.
So we'll be talking about monsters.
There's a fine line between man and monster, but
we're going to find it.
We're gonna figure it out.
Sometimes there's a monster on this podcast.
That's right.
And
It's not Bad Boy LaCroix. It's the Clisson game for sure.
Look, I was eating some dots earlier.
Dude.
We're lucky you.
Dude,
we were not
it's
recording.
like, you know, like when you're just out in public and there's just ducks, you know?
Yeah.
And you just got you got a piece of bread.
Oh,
and all of a sudden those ducks start coming, you know? That's Michael with anything that could look like food. It's just like, hey, here's some I just
dots.
randomly threw like candy at him. He's like, yeah, I'll eat some dots.
You kidding me, dude?
You can.
I'm very food motivated.
Yeah, very food motivated.
Yeah, I'm like a golden retriever when something hits the floor.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, and also like the duck analogy because the way that the duck eats bread is pretty much how you eat dots.
Yeah.
Or any food where it's just like.
They're very efficient. Just
Yeah.
very, yeah.
But like they're smacking their
Their
beak,
RPM
the bills.
is crazy.
Yeah, their BPMs,
Yeah.
the beaks per minute.
Yeah. We're freaking hilarious,
Yeah.
guys.
Don't you want to see me make these jokes? I think when I smile and they see me smiling, it will make my jokes.
They're going to see a lot of
that much more
my
funnier.
laughter too and go, ooh, I think Nick's really just sad.
Because Michael's saying beats per minute.
Yeah. Nick's faking it for sure. No, I'm joking. I love your comedy
Thank you. Someone has
for
to.
the most part.
Yeah. It's either a 1 or a 10. You've made that before. I swing, and when I swing
Yeah, it's a
hard.
home run derby for you. It's
Yeah.
like it's either a home run or it's
Beaks per
yeah,
minute.
it's beaks per minute. That's true. I don't. Let's talk about this first film that we decided to talk about. I kind of want to pick your brain first,
Please.
because we each picked 5.
Yep.
We're not going to tell you what they're going to be because we want you to
Surprise,
check it
surprise.
out. You chose Aliens.
Yes.
The 1986 film.
Yep.
Sequel to Alien.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to know why.
Why? Yeah.
Particularly, why not, I don't know,
Alien.
the first one?
Yes.
Or a different...
different iteration of the Alien franchise.
Why the second one?
This may be a hot take, but this is by far my favorite Alien movie in the Alien franchise. Alien, Alien versus Predator, Prometheus, those movies. I think that I've only watched this movie. This is probably the second time I actually watched this movie.
Whoa.
And so saying it was more me like, I want to revisit this and see if I really do enjoy this.
Yeah.
But I picked it because I think it blends great things about Alien, which I really enjoy, like the kind of horror aspect and the kind of like them on a ship alone fighting this one alien. But like, what if we took that and like just ramped it up and like gave like the character development, but also the kind of just like action-y like volume that Aliens offers.
It was a pure sequel.
Yeah.
But didn't fail in the way that some sequels do.
Yeah. And I think like it's kind of the blueprint for what a sequel should be and could be, where it expands on the world. It takes what you love and just grows it from there. It doesn't try and do anything like too radically different, I guess.
Sure.
But I think it's also a rare case of the sequel being better than the original.
Yeah. And And I suppose if we're talking specifically about the monsters, you get more more data in this movie, if you will.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely a lot more of them.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
Obviously, it's going to be spoilers for a 40-year-old movie. Get over it.
Yeah.
We don't care.
Yeah.
If you're watching this episode, you obviously have seen this movie.
Yeah.
Or
you
you're
don't
just
care.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Wait a second. I thought they were going to say spoiler. Wait. I just really did enjoy this movie. And watching it again, I would say it took a hot minute to get into.
Sure.
I'd say the first 15 minutes are crushingly boring.
Yeah.
And they just need an excuse to get her back into with
But
the
at least
aliens.
they did the due diligence.
Yeah,
and not
and I
just
respect
like
that. I get that.
Sometimes these
I'm
sci-fi
fine with
movies
that.
try to explain that first act over text.
Yeah.
Because you just get the scroll
that's-
or you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's way worse than doing what they did. Like I think they did it right, they did it well. But like once you get like on planet, this thing takes off and just goes for it.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
quite an
really love it.
experience.
I really love it. I think too. I just love aliens, man.
You
And
like
s-
the xenomorphs?
No,
or you
no,
just
no,
like
just aliens in
aliens,
general.
Big A.
And just like the
aliens?
big aliens.
Got
Yeah.
it.
I do think the xenomorphs are very uniquely designed.
100%.
I also I'm not as well versed on like the lore of like where everything is, and like I don't think that like necessarily matters for like some of these movies.
No, not early on, I don't think.
Yeah. No, like when we get to Prometheus and stuff like that really does. But like this is just like, hey, what if we just had some aliens and you shot at aliens? I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, what's really interesting about this film is how well armed and prepared the team is, and yet how terrifying the movie still can be.
Yeah.
I do feel like the weaponry that they bring, all the guns seem to like be pretty effective at killing xenomorphs when they do, but the absolute fear and the fact that like a single xenomorph can still take you out from dying because of just its acidic blood, that there's just you're never really like safe.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter how prepared you
are.
Yeah.
I think I wanted to ask you that question basically, and then we can get into kind of your thoughts of like, okay, so single alien wrecks the ship, and it's terrifying because this one alien is hunting you down. Do you think having multiple aliens and them kind of being able to be killed easier than the one alien, does that diminish their like fortitude or scariness in a way?
So what's interesting about this film that they change is behavior of the xenomorph has shifted, right? So the first one doesn't have a queen or anything that it's trying to do. It's just trying to survive and kill.
Sure.
These ones, on the other hand, are kind of weird in the sense that they're like body snatching a lot. They want to keep growing their population. And so I find it terrifying because I don't think there's a fate worse than getting face hugged in the sci-fi universe that I can think of. Like I think that's probably
pretty bad.
It's probably the worst.
Yeah.
I almost wish you would just die when you got face hugged.
Yeah. Having the like mental thought, and then it's just like popping out of your chest. Dude, no way. No way.
But the thing I'll say, the strategic use of the motion sensors that they each had on their like wrists or their guns, where they would have
See,
like a
the dots
portable radar, and then you'd see the beeps a lot faster, and it would build. I think they did a good job of overwhelming them. And so it didn't feel like, oh no, there's too much, they're all weaker as a species because you can kill them. I think we've gotten stronger and more prepared. But again, you can't spray and pray.
Yeah.
Eventually that will kill you.
They will get you,
because they will get close enough that you spraying and praying will actually
hurt you.
'Cause
of the blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
As you're saying with like acid blood, and like there's different ways, there's different tactics for them to like get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I found that kind of interesting because a lot of the new Alien stuff usually pertains to just mass gore, like killing. Like it's just, I'm out, I'm angry, and I'm just going to kill whatever's on board. This was more of a unique take for me because it felt like they had more of a mission.
Yeah. You felt like they were sentient in some way. Like they had like this industry that they were kind of doing.
Yeah,
Of like,
they're
we
trying to
need to
figure
like
out what was going on.
repopulate and like
Yeah.
keep progressing and
It would have been nice to maybe have like an explanation of like why did one of the xenomorphs become the queen? Because I think lore wise, like what came first, the face hugger or the you know whatever. But
it wasn't like don't ants or bees do that too? Where it's like if their queen dies,
yeah, they can become
one
and,
can like
and obviously like
genetically
rips off the part that is like giving birth to the eggs and just like starts doing its own thing. But anyway, yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
But that one, I think it struck a chord with me because I think that was unique in the sense of the franchise always being kind of these essentially just soulless humans that are just hunting you.
Yeah.
I kind of liked the idea that, and it also made sense plot-wise because as soon as you bring a little kid into this, you got to be really careful.
Right.
With, I forget her name, but the little girl.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as, like, 8 xenomorphs are showing up, you're just like, okay, so I'm either about to see the grossest, scariest scene of my entire life.
Yeah.
Or Ripley's going to go,
like,
hey, don't worry, they're not going to kill her. They want to, they want to do the face hugger thing.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So,
okay, sure.
So that was good. That made sense to me. I think Bill Paxton is underappreciated. Game Over Man is the best. I love that man.
Yeah, he's so good.
It's very good.
Rip.
It's definitely a movie that shows its time.
Okay, in what way?
Just all the military classic, just like,
hey, man.
Hey, I'm going to be racist. Or like, hey, cool, man. I'm going to
also be racist. Hey, man, what if we, like, shot something? Yeah, man, what if we did?
Nice one, man.
Nice.
Like, yeah.
Bro, like, handshake.
Which we'll eventually get to in probably a future movie.
Oh.
Right?
Which one? Wait a sec. I don't know.
Dylan.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, well.
I haven't seen it.
We're going to watch it probably.
It felt super bro-y. And you know what?
Yeah.
But I think that plays to its effect.
100%.
Like, I think, like, I don't know. There's probably, like, some commentary on, like, the military.
Well, but I think it made them great because they were all so, like, trigger happy and ready to, like, just blow stuff up that they were dumb enough to take on the mission. And it also allows you to see, like, the juxtaposition of what they end up acting like. Because I mean, Bill Paxton's perfect. Like, dude, let's freaking frag, bro. And then, like,
game over, man.
As soon as
when it hits the fan, he's like,
no. It's like, dude, we're done. Dude, we're done. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah.
So, no,
and
I
it, like, shows the
them.
strength of Ripley too.
Yeah,
the counter effect of that. Yeah.
But I'm like, man, this movie came out, like 10 years before I was, or not 10 years, but like 8. No.
You said 86?
No, so 6 years before I was born.
Yeah.
And then I'm now 32. I was like, yeah, this movie.
It's old.
It's old.
I think the effects, they'll hold up. I think the aliens themselves
100%.
look incredible.
All the practical stuff's always going to hold up well.
Yeah.
I mean, they made everything look slimy and goopy and perfect. I mean, that place is just disgusting.
Yeah, I do not want to live. This is like, I'm like thinking about this. This is a
you
universe.
Don't want to live.
I don't
you need to sentence.
We'll clip that in there. I think
you don't want to be there.
The entire universe, not even the goopy alien stuff. Just like
sucks.
Just like everything. Everything sucks. Yeah. Not even like just sitting on a spaceship. It just looks bad. It just looks like blocky and like textureless and just I think that's the whole point. It's like this is like this like dry even like the milk in like the freaking robots. I'm like, that's gross. It's just all gross. Everything's
stuff,
gross. Everything's gross, and it like just plays 100%. To the effect.
Yeah, it's unsettling.
It's all unsettling,
but I think it's by design.
Yeah, for sure. Tell me some of your history with this movie.
I probably watched it randomly on like a TNT viewing 20 years ago. And TNT unfortunately makes every movie like 5 hours long because of their commercials are atrocious and super long. So this was really like truly what felt like my first time viewing this specific movie.
Right.
I've been a Xenomorph fan. Like I've watched pretty much anything that's come out recently. Prometheus, Alien Covenant. Haven't watched Romulus yet.
Yeah.
Looked like there was more facehuggers than I wanted.
And Romulus?
Yeah, I'm more post Xenomorph.
Yeah.
In my view, like chest busting and beyond, I'm great.
Yeah.
But like face
Before
hugging,
that, yeah.
face hugging scares the shit out of me.
I think what they do well too is like, sorry to go back on like the intimidation of the aliens. Like the aliens are intimidating, but like even being in a room with a face hugger, you're like, I'm scared out of my mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're very yeah.
Those alone are still intimidating. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think sorry, it scares me so badly.
Nick, your chest is bursting. Hold on.
But I do find it very interesting for being a monster. It does require man. Like it has to be birthed from man,
Right.
which is unique. I feel like.
Sure.
There are other monster tropes that I think like vampires don't just exist for the most part. They're typically men turned into said monster or whatever. But the Xenomorph's tricky because of how uniquely we are intertwined with them. Like they don't look the way they look unless they're like there's other iterations that you can see throughout the film series and they don't look the exact same unless it comes from a human being. Like we are kind of its last like genetic evolution to form what we know as the Xenomorph.
Like the classic Xenomorph. And even in like, okay, so you mentioned of like vampires and werewolves, like they still use the human body to like be whatever form they're in. It's like in this version, like the humans are just discarded. It's like, okay, like we're going through you, literally through you, and like we aren't human anymore, or maybe we carry some like DNA or whatever. But like even the vampire has like, oh, there's the human element to the vampire. There's like almost no human element to a Xenomorph.
Right.
Which makes it almost even like scarier.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Well, and their particular design also keeps them in this weird, like, they look mechanical because of like their blackened like skin, but how like ribbed and like they like there's not like an obese Xenomorph.
Sure.
Like they're just
skin and bones.
They're just skin and bones. Like, but they particularly don't have like eyes and other characteristics that would help you find more human likeness to them. They obviously have like teeth, a head, like they are very humanoid, but being void of some of those things almost makes them that terrifying.
Sure.
Because their sole purpose is like, there's nothing about me that provides any other purpose besides just absolutely murdering everyone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They're like the bad version of like the super soldier serum or something. Like they're humans to the degree that's just designed for killing, you know, or something. And that's what's so scary is there's no like emotion, there's no fear. So that's why they are just like, there's on you. They're like, well, I guess I die, but you're just going to burn with me. Yeah. Like it's just that they're terrifying. And that's why I feel like that's the beauty that the corporations see is like, hey, these would be sick to just drop on some people. Like, let's send these boys in, and if they die, whatever. Yeah. But like, they're gonna smoke everyone, you know.
Yeah.
And so I get that. You know, every time you watch a horror movie, you're like, why are we even doing this? Like, why did we go to the thing that's going to kill us?
Sure.
Every time.
And this makes sense. Or
But
like,
they've always done a good job of like
the holy dollar.
capitalism.
Yeah.
Dollar will always win.
Who's the true monster? The big old alien, scaly alien guys, or a dude with a clipboard?
Right. Yeah. And I think what's funny is that like we are the reason they keep existing. You know.
Yeah. If we just
left them alone, you know,
Yeah.
like they would be done. But they just like they're like, hey, that was pretty cool. Let me keep chest busting out of you guys.
Yeah.
Like, let's
Great.
keep
Keep
doing
going.
this. Here, come on over.
What's going?
So, yeah, just particularly the whole life cycle of them is terrifying. And I guess in some ways that does mean that there are multiple monsters in this film, but it feels like it's a kind of a single entity.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, do you feel like the queen is like the main monster, or is just like the aliens in general just become like, when we think of like a monster movie, like would you even describe this as a monster movie, or is it like just general like, oh, the aliens are the quintessential
No, I mean,
monster?
I think this is a monster film. I think what's particularly interesting about this one is that even though there are aliens that will try to impregnate you so that they can grow to be vicious monsters, they're not the only thing that was evil in space up there, right? Because we see that some of the motivations of the people there were willing to sacrifice even human life in order to gain whatever knowledge we could gain, instead of leaving that stone unturned, you know? And so in some ways the other monster of it would be what's his face?
That guy.
Carter, no. Burke.
Yeah. That guy sucked.
Yeah.
Where he's like trying to kill Ripley, and like shutting the doors, and then
she's on to him, like, and says, "I won't go down there unless we're destroying them." And he's like, "Totally,
yeah, for sure."
And then is willing to sacrifice the only thing that's keeping him safe in order to, be rich. The risk of being rich for the rest of his life
is worth it for him.
Is worth risking not only his conscience, but
this person's life.
Yeah, everyone's life.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary. So I don't know. I wouldn't call him the monster, but I think in some ways you're supposed to believe that even though the Xenomorphs are the monster, maybe the Weyland Corporation is kind of the big bad.
The big business is like the evil. Yeah, like capitalism is the villain of like, okay, if we do anything for the bottom dollar, it's like, what's it worth? Like you said, like if we didn't go to this planet, they would probably just die out.
Yeah.
And then like, great, it's fine. We don't need to touch this alien goo. But it's like, since we go there, because it's like, oh, maybe we can get some research and maybe get a lot of money. It's like, we're hurting ourselves. And like, oh, these people's lives are not worthless.
Kind
to
of like
us.
another James Cameron movie.
Oh.
Anyway,
a little segue.
This was his only alien movie, yeah?
Yeah. Do you think James Cameron likes to just redo the first movie, the ending of the first movie? Because in Alien, he does like, okay, we're gonna go sit in cryopods, and Aliens, they do the same thing. And then like Avatar, we have go listen to our Avatar 2 podcast if you want to. But like he's just like, oh, what if Jake Sully, but
water people,
water people? Yeah. Hey, look, the guy made some great movies, and I think this is one of them.
I think he makes experiences.
Yeah.
And I think he had an idea of, he must have watched the first film and was like, I want to play with this.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's also weird. You got like Star Wars in there too. Like, it's a hard time to make a sci-fi movie that stands out. And so the fact that he took a swing when Star Wars was happening, it's pretty crazy that this franchise still like
took off.
It's
such a different departure from like Star Wars.
Yeah,
it's
it's the opposite of Star Wars. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's like, here's the morally good guy that can use powers, and here's the morally bankrupt people who have enough money to send us to the stars. But I guess it's different enough that it's not like, oh, they have the monopoly on sci-fi. But,
sure. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know where else.
I keep thinking about getting face hugged, dude. It scares me.
Yeah, ways that I don't want to die. Definitely
Always.
up there. Yeah.
Trying to think if there's anything in particular. Aesthetically, I feel like they did a really good job. I feel like everything's practical, and so it just looks good. Obviously, there's a few scenes where you have like a ship flying, and you have to remember that it's the 80s.
Yeah, sure.
It's like whatever. I did find an interesting connection. There's a couple connections, but of how like this movie or perhaps this franchise has affected sci-fi in general.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that would be, I'm doing a rewatch through Stranger Things at the moment, and it does feel like the Demogorgon from Stranger Things season 1 has to have some inspiration from the Xenomorph.
For sure.
And these will be spoilers for Stranger Things, but like we see too at the end of season 1, Will is like being incubated in the Upside Down and ends up throwing up like some slugs that have some
like he's getting infected.
He ends up giving birth kind of to a couple small Demogorgons. I think that ends up becoming like the Demodog in season 2. And they're faceless in a sense, like there's no eyes, so they look very human-esque, very like skin and bones, and then the Upside Down, I mean, if you watch Aliens and see the queens, like the hive, as you're getting closer to the hive, it's hard to, apart from particles like in the air, it's hard to really differentiate that being much different than the Upside Down.
Sure.
I mean, you're kind of getting into that area, and so that was kind of fascinating. Like I never put my thumb on that until kind of watching this movie, and was like, oh no, okay, yeah, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Obviously, a Xenomorph's head's way different than like a Demogorgon.
But like the idea is there. Yeah.
And like it unfolds and something kind of comes out in a way, like there's a second mouth in a Xenomorph and blah, blah, blah. Burke also shows up in Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah.
He is the Hawkins lab guy that shows up in season 2. Fun fact. And he shows up in a couple other seasons. Season 4, I think, specifically. But he's kind of the good agent that comes out of Hawkins' lab, unlike his character in this one. Yeah. But it was fun to see young Burke.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like sci-fi has taken this movie and just the Alien franchise and like, I mean, I think a lot of sci-fi comes from this. I think even like kind of ship design and just kind of like the griminess of certain universes. Yeah. I mean, anything that doesn't feel like your kind of typical Star Wars sci-fi can probably give roots from Aliens. Yeah. I mean, particularly Stranger Things. Yeah.
It does seem too like one thing that makes this different than like a Star Wars is it does feel like this is a future of us, right? Like it's not trying to be a different like species or whatever.
It's us,
It's us if we ever reach a point where we're, exploring the far reaches of space. I also feel like there's probably a lot to say. I'm not familiar enough with like the mythology behind it, but a lot of the things like the ship's names. And I think they like are very like mythologically based,
right?
Like
I
Nostromo and Prometheus,
there's stuff
and
like that.
All those things, like
we're just too dumb.
I think there's a lot of stuff like on the nose there that's like trying to show you. Oh, it's like oh, that's the one that flew too close to the sun. I wonder if that's gonna be like a take or or like what that means.
Yeah, so there's a lot of allegories and themes that we are just not gonna get.
For sure, yeah. I mean, Alien in general is pretty dark when it comes to that type of theme. But I'm trying to think of some other. I will say the thing that I think has really stood the test of time is the design of the life cycle of the Xenomorph. I can't think of another monster apart from Stranger Things, almost like kind of carbon copying that type of gestational, like whatever, like type of process. There aren't too many examples I can think of where they've really replicated or outdone the Xenomorph.
Sure,
Like I think
yeah.
that's just the most unsettling,
It's pretty
gross,
clean, classic design.
creation of a character or
Yeah.
of a monster. I can't think of a grosser way that a monster is
Like
formed.
born. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to piece together some stuff, but I
No,
can't
probably
think.
not. I mean, the similar thing would be like maybe a zombie or something like that.
Zombie. I was thinking maybe like the Uruk-hai in Lord of the Rings were kind of gross, but they're really just kind of buried bodies. They're not
Yeah, and you
like
just kind of rip them out of the
they're
ground.
like incubated, like weird.
Oh, your chest is like opening up, and then you just also like you die from it. Like
Yeah.
you are like you're
you
done.
don't. Yeah, you're done.
Yeah,
Yeah, you were very much like an object at
Yeah.
that point. You're no longer like
yeah, you're
human.
discarded. Yeah,
You have no value except for that. So it's a very dark theme. But yeah, I can't think of anything else that really matches it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just a testament to this monster and why we wanted to talk about it.
yeah, for sure. I think a few more things. I have. I don't even know if I have an overarching theme of this, but like I really enjoyed Bishop and his character,
Sure.
and like
The redemption of the
the
synths.
redemption of like the syndicates, or what did he say? The artificial
Well, they're just
syndicates.
synths, I think.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah, yeah.
synthesizing or what, I don't know. But I think they're just synthetic
Yeah,
beings.
sure.
Yeah.
Him like not being there when she comes back to the landing pad, and then him like ultimately saving the day. I'm like, okay, this feels like
Got all the milk coming out of
yeah,
them.
yeah. No, maybe not that part,
Num
but
num.
num. Yeah. Oh, no. That's grosser to me than probably the alien bursting. Just like the white milk coming out.
Sure.
I don't know, man. It's
No, I
gross.
mean, I think that is gross, but it will never face hugging.
That's fair.
It's the worst.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, especially when they're getting close to your face and you see the essentially the penis come out,
Mhm.
and it's just
Sure.
slapping you in the face, and it's just like no, and
No,
then
no,
the
no.
the tail wraps
Wraps
around
around
your
you.
neck. You're just like no, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, it's more not even like the it's
I'm
it's
surprised I said
happening.
penis first.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow. I'm really surprised that hasn't come out yet. Damn.
I was holding back, dog.
You're insane.
Anyways, here we go. Yeah, the it happening to you is that's terrifying. That and it's besides the fact that you're gonna die. It's
Yeah.
it's this traumatic event that
Oh, absolutely.
it's terrifying.
Oof. Game
But
over.
yeah, really enjoyed Bishop. I think too there's the kind of horror trope of especially with the Queen, where it's oh, the Queen's gone and dead, and then it comes back, and now it's on the ship, and there's kind of these stages to the boss fight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can see the pattern here, and that maybe diminishes some of the things in where it's oh, we're on the ship and we're totally safe. Whoa, here's the Queen, and then you do have the fight with the robo suit, which was pretty sick.
Yeah.
And I think where we see the age of the movie is kind of some of the stilted camera work and stuff, where it's maybe in a Romulus could really benefit with modern camera movements and stuff like
Oh,
that,
sure.
where this has really all the set design that's really great and holds up, but maybe some of the movements a little finicky.
Sure.
But yeah, overall, really liked the movie.
Yeah, it's also cool, I think, too, I mean, the monster's assaulting everyone, and you get this character, and the only one that ends up kind of living is this woman who told all the guys, don't be stupid, and then they are all stupid, and then she has to save the day. And so it's kind of refreshing, especially for an 86 film, to be they didn't make the random army guy have to save the day a little bit. They just flat out were all right, Ripley, take it out.
Yeah, because even Hicks, the guy
Yeah.
character,
Yeah.
he gets injured.
He gets
and-
incapacitated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think they did a good job of not making it unbelievable.
Yeah.
But they also did a good job of not just breaking that trope just to appease guys. And that's what I think super cool about it, because I just watched it and was this is amazing, this is super
Yeah.
fun, this is great. I didn't feel like something was being told to me, or it was heavy-handed with a plot trying to say something. It was just her agreement was she was going to come to the ship to consult, and all you guys had to do was not bring anything back.
Yeah. And guess what?
Guess what?
Yeah.
You ruined everything.
Yeah.
Like, and so she had to save the day.
Yeah.
And she did. And on top of it, side quest, she went and got the girl. Like, she could have just been like, hey, this whole place is going to blow.
See,
Doesn't really matter if this girl gets face hugged.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to blow up too.
Yeah.
But she's like, I got some time.
Yeah.
And at first I thought this was a mistake of the movie because I was like, how is she tracking her? But they did their research and they gave her that tracking device and everything. I'm just like, damn, they did a good job. They did the box where, she moved the thing with the forklift robot thing just to give us a little bit of taste of like, I know what I'm doing.
She can work a robot.
But it didn't feel like out of place or anything. It all felt good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because her moving the box is like, she's showing that she's like capable of doing.
Yeah, she has finesse.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, cool, great. Like she's like this capable character who is like more than like these people think she is. And then like they also tie that they bring it back. It's
and
like
then
a
it
Chekhov's
also
gun, but like
at least gives her a fighting chance where you're sitting there going like, dude, there's no like,
yeah,
she just burns the eggs and runs. Like there's no like fighting that thing.
Yeah.
And so the fact that she finally gets to a spot where it's like, all right, if we have to fight, I know what I can use.
Yeah.
She's used everything at her disposal. So,
yeah. No, I think it works really well.
Well, I appreciate you picking out this movie. And I'm thankful that I got a chance to watch it. I hope I picked some good ones for you as well.
I think you do. I think you did.
Oh, thank you.
I have one more question actually before we wrap up.
Please.
I think while we are going through the monsters,
yes,
I think we need to. We first off need to rate the movie, but also we should. I don't know if that's we're coming back and doing that.
Let's get it.
I think we should rate the monsters from the movie as well, on like their monsterness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if we're gonna say like who's the most monster,
should we get through the 10 movies
and come back
and then
to
rank
that?
them?
Ooh, I like that.
Or do you want me to try to be like, I think Xenomorph's a 4, and then when I get to another movie that says that's the 4,
yeah,
all right, I'm knocking Xenomorph down.
Yeah, maybe.
Do you want to do it live or do you want to do it at the end?
I think maybe we do it at the end. Actually,
we can still review the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe at the end we go, after seeing these 10 films, here's how we
who's the
rank.
most monster? Yeah, because I think the Xenomorph is a really good monster.
I think it's a great monster. I think it's gonna be up there.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be up there.
Okay.
I think I got some
heavy hitters.
dope movies. I don't know if the monsters are as good. We'll see. We'll see.
I can see that. Yeah.
But
okay, if you were to give this a numerical rating,
Aliens the film, I would give an 8.
I would also give it an 8. Yeah.
It's an excellent sci-fi romp.
Yeah. Romp is an interesting word to use.
Just some good, clean family fun.
Some good, yep. Bring the whole family. Tell them this is where babies come from.
Partially true.
Yeah. So I think I give it an 8 because I really enjoy it. But I think, to its credit and detriment, it does kind of gross me out a little bit. It's a little yucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the universe I don't really want to. I don't love revisiting the most. Put that on your DVD box.
Fair enough.
It's a little yucky.
It's a little yucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it ages. There's some age on there. I think it's a really good score.
Yeah. I like this world, and it's funny because some of the most hated films are the ones where they like try to explain where everything came from. So it's kind of interesting. It's one of those franchises where like the less you know, the better the enjoyment is for the most, like for the masses. Yeah. I particularly like Prometheus.
I got a soft spot for it, and Covenant.
But I think there's some stuff wrong with it too. I think sometimes when you have to go back and write, you're gonna mess something up, and I think sometimes they mess up too much or whatever. Yeah. But I do like just how terrifying the being is, because there isn't a planet of these things. There isn't a that we came into contact with and started blowing them up. Like, we created them. And I think that's really fascinating.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because man just like
created its own enemy.
Yeah, it's just classic man. Like, we can't like
with ourselves.
nothing is going to wipe us out. We are going to wipe us
Yeah.
out. Like
Yeah.
it's classic.
Yeah.
And so I particularly like that. Whereas sometimes when a monster is just out there and we have no motivation whatsoever, it's hard because you're like, why is this thing doing what it's doing? We know why this thing's doing what it's doing. We're the carrot at the end of the stick, and we keep going. Hey, here's some more carrots.
Yeah.
Like,
It's me with a little bit of
hey,
bread. You know what I'm
can
saying?
we collect some of you? And they're like, yes.
Yeah, great.
But we're going to eat some of you.
Yeah.
And we're like, sure.
That seems like
That's
a fair
fine.
trade. Yeah.
You got about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then we're going to roll credits.
Yeah.
So let's do this.
Okay.
That's the exchange. So I find that fascinating. And I think that's something that's very unique about these films. I like that we are a part of their cycle. And not that I enjoy that, but I think
The idea
I
of
think
it.
the idea that they don't just come from nowhere. These things want to copy what they can from everything until they become the best that they can be.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
That is crazy.
So
Yeah.
that's Aliens.
That is Aliens. It makes me want to watch more of the movies.
Yeah,
I
we
haven't
could watch
seen
some more of
Alien
the movies.
3, and I haven't seen much. I've seen parts
I
of
think
Alien
once we get through
Predator.
these 10, let's maybe have a little marathon.
Okay.
We'll get all the goop out of the way.
Oh, let's goop it up, dog.
Let's just goop it up for
Two bros goop it up.
Okay. And then we will not visit it for a long time
Yeah, probably.
because we'll get too gross, too
Yeah.
gooped.
No, there's a level that I can handle with the franchise.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well,
Great coming back.
Yeah, it is great coming back. It's good to be back.
You feel good?
I feel great.
I feel really well rested.
Yeah. And I'm ready for more goop.
All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. You got it?
I think I got it.
Do it.
I think you've heard a review of Aliens and two men talking about aliens. Well, you haven't heard about aliens from us. Not as United.
Dude, we're back.
We're back.
All right, see ya.
Yeah. You've just listened to Not Us United. You can find us under Not Us United on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Please leave us a review and consider subscribing to our podcast. You can reach out for future podcast topic suggestions at notusunitedpod@gmail.com.